Hi, we are here with.
Hi, I'm Chris Zimmerman, creator of Labyrinth.
So, what is Labyrinth around? Tell the people of Wasteland TV.
Okay, Labyrinth is a tabletop medieval fantasy genre role-playing game. It is fun and easy, family-friendly, and no game master is required.
No game master required.
No.
Oh crap.
The way it's designed is that where you go, what you do, what you find is all randomly generated for you through 5 easy steps. So if you have some 6-siders handy, you roll and it will tell you if you turn left, turn right, if you come to a door, if you hit a trap, if you hit a room, how big is your room, and lastly, what is in this room, because we all want to fight and get our magic items and treasure and level up and move on.
So, how many players do you need to play the game?
You need only one. Labyrinth offers solo play because there is not a game master involved.
Wow, it's like old Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Like
is.
a lot of their modules used to be.
It is.
You could play them by yourself if you had a map set in front of you.
Right. You can play with more than 4 people, although I try to keep it at 4 because Labyrinth uses the original classic 4 character classes. You have to have a fighter, you have to have a magic user, you have to have a healer, you have to have a thief. So I integrated the classic 4. If you want to have a party of 5 or more, by all means go ahead.
So, what would you say is the cap of players who put on the game? Because some people try to play 15, 20.
Wow, that's a huge party.
I ran a
would
party
say
as high as 15 at one time as a dungeon master.
That's a lot of babysitting.
Oh, yes. Then people wonder why I call it glorified babysitting sometimes.
Sure, absolutely. I've DM'd, so.
You know that there's good players and then there's just murder hobos.
Right. I would say comfortably up to 6. You could go so far as 8. But combat rounds tend to start to feel a little more weighted down if you get into those
Just
numbers.
like D&D does. They tend to start getting weighted down because the game master has to roll monster initiative, then the players all have to roll individual initiatives. Then you got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That monster's dead. Now it's skip to the other players, and it becomes number crunching.
Right. Also, when it comes to the system, there are certain items that only certain character classes can use. You know, these are specifically designed for you. If you have 2 warriors in your party and you come upon, an awesome magical battle axe, well, people are going to fight over that.
Oh,
Whereas
yeah, they all fight over it.
Okay, when you have just 1 warrior in the party, he says, well, this is mine now, and you can pick up and carry
Just like
on.
a video game. This is mine.
Yeah. Warrior
This is a
food.
cleric. This is a cleric weapon. Cleric needs cleric scroll.
Yeah, like that. So by all means, if you have extra people who want to play, they can roll up and start grinding alongside you.
So do you roll stats or do they have pre-generated stats?
No, stats are rolled. There's 2 stats in this game: your strength and your dexterity. So it's how much damage you can do and how much you can carry versus how fast and agile you are.
So you simplified it down to the simplest possible version of what people do: pummel and move.
Right. When I originally designed the system, and this happened, the original Labyrinth was something that I created back in 1987 when I was in math class. And I was already accepted to Fresno State. It was the final semester. I had senioritis, and I was part of this epic D&D campaign. And so that introduced me to the ins and outs of a role-playing system. And at the same time, we were playing D&D, we would go to the local arcade and play video games, and this video game called Gauntlet came out.
Yes, that's what I was thinking when you said that, Gauntlet.
And I loved
Warrior about to die.
Right.
Wizard about to die.
Right.
Warrior hungry.
Right. So I'm in math class, and I got my D&D dice, and I always had graph paper. And so I began sitting at my desk just rolling dice going, how can I take this video game Gauntlet and translate that into a random dungeon travel game?
A random generated system where you're not following a predestined course.
Right. And that was the original Labyrinth. I still have my original rules. They're all handwritten notes. And the system itself was pretty much half written because I said, this is just something to play in class. It's something, that's supposed to be quick and easy. So if I ever ran into, a trouble spot, I would just make up something on the spot because the overall objective was to keep moving forward and try to fill this entire graph page up with rooms and hallways so that it looked like a labyrinth when you got done.
So it felt more like you offset it off second edition, not this modern system where they make the characters bigger than the system nowadays.
Okay.
Like the third on down and Pathfinder, where the characters are actually, due to the feats and little doodads they add to the characters, you don't really need magical items to play it to enhance the characters. You can bend the system itself nowadays.
Okay.
Yours tends to be with the old, you need a good dexterity, whatever your stat rolls say, dictate what your character can and cannot do, what bonuses they get.
Right.
And you defaulted it down to the key one, which would give dexterity to move and strength to hit.
Right. Well, hitting and missing is all based on dexterity. And it's just as one roll on 3 dice 6. There is one paragraph in the rule book that explains the combat system. That is how streamlined the system is. So you roll, and given your total, if you've hit, if you've missed, if you're doing double damage, or you drop your weapon or your spell backfires. Those are your options when you decide to go forth and attack something.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
It's like it's so simplified that you can just play it over one night, and then you feel satisfied.
One night or, a 30-minute break between classes. I have had some experienced D&D gamers who have said, we love to take a break from our campaign and grind through Labyrinth for about an hour as a palate cleanser, and then we go back to our campaign. And
It's like some people do the board game thing between, or play Magic, the Gathering.
Right. I'm
It
not here to
decompresses.
replace anybody. I'm here to add to the experience. And because the system is so fun and easy, this is a great startup system for small children or people of any age who have never touched an RPG before, and they want to see what
It's
that
the
world
way to
is
get
all
your
about.
feet wet, and then if you want to go further to explore the other systems, with the Bibles they call handbooks,
Right.
you can.
Right. You have a very good feel for what a tabletop RPG is all about. And this is not going to break you. Starter kits, which is a rule book and the introductory quest module, is $22.50.
That isn't too bad, because basically you buy the monster manual that is
That's like-
$60.
Yeah.
Now, the player's handbook is about $75, because it tends to be more expensive now than Hasbro got smart.
So we're up to $135, and what's a
And then the
DMG?
Dungeon Master Guide is $60.
So $200, and then you got to buy dice and a module. I played. It's it's
Second
a commitment
back
more
in
ways
second
than one.
edition, it was nice because you could find the books used. You had people getting in and
Yeah.
out of the system by the time some of us were old enough to start playing it.
That's true. I forgot about the.
And then you
used
also had
modules.
the starter boxes, the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, $10. Mowing a couple lawns, you owned yourself a box set, and you could play a D&D adventure right out of the box for 6 levels.
Yeah, I remember those vaguely.
Yeah, we're playing it right now again.
Okay,
Because we
cool.
were watching Stranger Things, and the opening scene is them playing Dungeons & Dragons.
Nice.
And I go, it's not the game you guys were playing. This is second edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah, it's way back.
This is back when you either live or die by one bad mistake. You guys can't bend the system, you guys can't cheat the system, and you can't be sleeping with the dungeon master to survive.
All right.
You actually got to think. And it's like they're going, wow, I've already lost 2 characters in the party due to the fact they were being dumb and funny. So they had to roll new characters in session 2.
Nice. I hope they learned a lesson.
They did.
Good.
Except for one player, I did it fast and dirty way. I go, choose a model out of the box, whatever you want. Well, Robbie decided to be ha-ha funny and chose the one in a bikini. Not the metal bikini to get metal armor bonuses. He chose a classic cloth bikini
Okay.
and a sword. No
Perfect.
shield, no nothing.
Okay.
And he thought it was ha-ha funny. Oh, what do you want to do? And then at the end I go, Robbie, you know you're destined to die. Why? Because you have no weapons, no armor, no dexterity bonuses.
Right.
Huh? Being ha-ha funny in second edition does not get you bonuses, it gets you dead.
Sure.
And you're the tank character, so you're a frontline guy. Huh? So the thief has been spending all her time the last 2 sessions making sure Robbie doesn't die. She's the leader, default leader for the last survivor, the last party. Since everyone else had to roll new characters.
And I like that because that's making a fantasy setting as realistic as possible to explain to people, if you mess up, you will die.
Yeah.
And you can die in this system. I mean, as you level up, the enemies get exponentially more difficult
And
to
if
defeat.
there's no fear of death, why play a role-playing game? Because you're playing to get the experience of what it's like to play this world.
Right.
And part of being this world is the fear of, I might die this day.
Right.
Or it's a good day to die, depending what class you're playing.
Right.
You know, there are certain character classes like Barbarian. It's a good day to die. Valhalla is calling upon me. You know, there's so many little quips from old Pulp Fiction stories where they did stuff like that.
Wait.
Conan was a good example.
Which one?
Conan the Barbarian.
I saw that in the theater.
The books are where he's always talking about, you know, this is a good day to die. Going against odds he probably couldn't have beat, but sheer will and awesomeness had him win the day.
Right. Okay.
But, yeah, so which is your favorite module you've come put together so far?
That's really easy. It's a Dead Awakening. This one has more of a darker feel to it. And this is the most expanded expansion module that we've written so far, because each one gets progressively more involved. So in this one has the most bells and whistles to
Is it
date.
because this is after these three, like this is baby step, advanced step, advanced, and we're growing up here, we know what we're doing right.
Right.
At this point.
My mission when I started the first quest module is give them a simple linear storyline, no obstacles on the maps, very easy to navigate. All you're doing is keeping your fingers crossed that the dice are in your favor so that you can get from point A to point B relatively simply without dying. Once you've played Enter the Labyrinth, you will be very familiar with the combat system and the random mapping protocol. From there, I introduce a little bit more.
Do you recommend miniatures for the game?
There's no need because your board is your graph sheet, and this is an example of the first level of the introductory quest, Enter the Labyrinth. You have your start room, and through the luck of the dice, you're trying to navigate from your start room to your O square, and that stands for objective. When you hit that, that's when you cash in your gold, level up, hopefully buy some really cool powers for yourself, and then it's on to level 2 to see what's in store. Enter the Labyrinth has 5 levels back to back, and by the time that you have reached the final boss, if you haven't been killed, there's the final epic battle. And that's the intro quest. So you can be able to finish that and go, okay, I feel confident with this system. I'm ready for something trickier now.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
As a game designer, before we sign off, what would you recommend to other game designers to do or not do?
What I would recommend, test play with all ages, all sexes. You cannot have enough pairs of eyes and brains giving you feedback. People will give you ideas. They'll catch mistakes that you never thought existed. That's one of the things that led to the creation of the second edition, because so much test play happened and so many amendments were made. It's not even the same game anymore. It morphed and grew into something that is now in a place in its own fantasy world. What I would not do is be impatient. I would not expect for things to take off overnight. I would not get discouraged if people play and they feel that it's just not their cup of tea. That's fine. The world of gaming encompasses so many different types of systems and games as a whole. There is something for everyone, so hopefully, you will find your niche. to focus more on the positive side, find reputable test players. And Facebook has a lot of sites where there are some very well-known reputable reviewers in the gaming community. They will review your game for free, and they will give you a reputable review. And they don't sugarcoat it. They'll give the readers the good with the bad. They'll give an objective point of view, which is vital, because it's fair.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your time.